Hi everyone. So that was the kind of device that I used to build mobile applications back in 2009. Meanwhile, in San Francisco, Steve Jobs was launching the iPhone 3GS. And now in 2018, we are doing with this kind of device. Or you can also use it like this. For me, it's remember this device. So it's not so different. So in 10 years, we are solving the same problem, but with the technology of that time. But the problems we are solving are the same. So I'm Patrick Loureiro. I'm a mobile developer at Audemars Piguet. It's a luxury watchmaking company. It's in Switzerland, near Geneva, in the mountains. This is the place where I actually work. I was hired 2 years ago to build Xamarin apps, but this happened to me. And I'm here. At the bottom, you see the area of the Facebook headquarters in San Francisco, and at the top corner, you see the area of the town where I actually work today. So it's the same area, but it's a totally different reality. This is a real view of the town. You have the manufacturer here. You have the factory. And at the top here, you can see what a Facebook office may look like. And at the bottom, you see what an office in my working place looks like. So it's a completely different context. So this is just to give you some context, because if you attended this morning to the Wix talk, they have 90 engineers. I also see some companies, they have thousands of engineers. So I was alone, 2 years, building a lot of React Native apps, and you will see further that's important. Just a reminder, this talk is not a tutorial, because if you want to learn how to build a module, you can just go to the internet and build yourself. I will share some insights and what worked for us. And I think I have something different than always talking about TypeScript, routers, or context. So it's a little bit different. So let's take this example. This is a basic app. So it's a directory app with contacts. So you can build a list, you can search, you can use Redux if you want for state management, React Native Elements, some kind of libraries. But, okay, it works fine for basic apps, but can it scale to more complex apps? How can we make this app great and not basic? So let's take again this example. We can, for example, have an in-call identification. So when you receive a call, it will resolve the name, if you don't have it in your personal contacts, in your app names. So we can achieve this by building, for example, in an iOS platform, through an app extension. In the Android side, it's almost the same, but I don't have time to cover both platforms here, but the concept is the same. So in the missed and recent calls, you can find the resolved names of each call you received. Okay, so just a bit of introduction. First, I have to ask who from here in the room already have a production React Native app live right now? Okay, off the room. Okay, so quickly, this is an iOS container. All your data, all your app information is stored in this container. And then here, the main intent is to build a shared container to activate this feature. And so your extension process can communicate with the app process. So once your app synchronizes with the server with the directory, you can then retrieve them from the extension. Pro tip also, if you never did this, you can just check rn fetch blob for me, it was very hard at the beginning to find a way from React Native to access. So through the FS function, you can easily pass the group identifier. And so if you go to the React Native documentation, you may find this. Maybe you want to use some existing Java code without having to implement it in JavaScript. So they say also, we designed the React Native to be extensible, flexible. So my intent was to never get stuck with this technology when building apps for the company. So let's do a hop. So we can go. For example, if you do a React Native init, so you can name the application. I won't run it here because it takes time to download the packages. But we can. I already did initialize the repo. Up. So here up. Okay. So here you see you have a standard React Native repo. You can go to the iOS folder, and then if you go, you have a standard iOS project. I'm going to open Xcode, the workspace. So from here, you have the regular test target, tvOS target, and your main app target. You just add an extension, call directory extension target. You can name it, call here. Okay, activate. In capabilities, don't forget to enable, where is it? The app group. So this will enable both parts to communicate together. And that's pretty much it. So you have a new folder here. iOS automatically generates. Okay, we are doing React Native. The intent is not to develop native code or do the work twice. But basically, what you need to do is, once you have the DB on the shared container, you just retrieve the array of numbers and names. This is for blocking, but for identification, you can use this one. And you can associate a name to a number really easily. So, okay, that's the part where you indexed all the contacts to your phone. So when it will ring, it will resolve the name. But how you will tell from your main React Native app the extension to refresh and to do some stuff. So that's pretty simple also. You just add a file up. Okay, it's created. So if you, just a small note up. Here, if you go to the call directory manager, in the official documentation, they just say get enabled state for extension, so you can get the status if the user activated the extension or not. And you can also reload the extension because you updated the database and you need to reload your extension to update your contacts. So basically, we just need to map these two functions to React Native. Oops, go back to Xcode, up. And then here, just, no, it's not this one. So I'm adding the bridge module from React Native. All of this is in the docs, but as I said, this is not a tutorial. And then here in the you just do an import for logs, for logging. This is not. Up. Okay. So this looks scary, but it's not, because it's only two functions that we mapped to React Native. Okay, I can't get the. Okay, it's difficult to. Okay, but basically, I don't have to resolve the errors, but it's only a reload extension identifier. You just put this header, and then it will send this reload extension back to JS. And it's the same for get enable status. You just resolve the status, enable, disable, or unknown if you're on simulator, for example. You don't have extensions in there. So from JS side, you can now instantiate your native module that you just created, and then use the method get directory extension with the name of the shared container. And for reload extension, it's the same. So yeah, that's it. So for me, for example, at the beginning when I thought I was to go to the React Native side, it looks complicated, but at the end, it's very simple. Another use case is this one. It's an app where you have to use Bluetooth, camera, QR code recognition, external peripherals, always on, critical. So this app was like the main challenge we need to, if we can build this app, I think we can build everything for the needs of any app. So we start, for example, you can go to the Facebook documentation, use text, image, view, so classic components that are out of the box available. Then you can go to React parts to, choose, for example, we need the camera, so you already have a component that implements the camera, it's already mapped, so it's very useful. And you, of course, have to choose a router. I just choose the regular one, but there are so much more. And then you need to map this device. It's a Bluetooth reader, an encoder. You can encode NFC cars, and also you can read cars after pairing with a phone. So, for example, you can use this kind of device for retail, for boutiques, if you have a POS in an iPad, for example, they don't have NFC, so you can use this kind of device. So they ship 2 SDKs, Android and iOS, and what we did is the same that I showed before. We just mapped the functions that were already implemented in native code, and just call everything from the React Native side. So basically, you import the SDK in your project. Then you export the module to React Native to make it available to the bridge. And then you map the function. Here, the first one is with a callback. We will talk ahead of that. And the second one, it's also a mapping to get the connected peripherals. And the callback with the response to the JS side of the results. But if we go today, still, 2 years ago it was the same. If you go to the documentation, to the React Native site, you saw this warning. This section is more experimental than others because we don't have solid best practice around callbacks yet. So for me, this looks scary because I was like, okay, where I'm going on, what am I going to do? So this was, really scary. And I started running away. But at the end, it worked pretty well, and I didn't saw what they are referring in the docs, maybe another use case, but for us, for our use case, it works pretty well. We didn't find any issue with that. We also use promises. You have two ways to return results to the JS bridge. It's callbacks and promises. So both work more or less the same, similar. So yeah. So from the JS side, as you said before, you just need to call your module, and the event emitter we will see after. And here you just handle up, and that's it. So you map the headers on the native side, you call your module from the JS, and you did a more advanced thing without too much work or doing that twice or 3 times on both platforms. We still need to listen for cars. For example, if someone put the car on the device, you need to listen for that event. So it will be the native side that notifies the JS side that an event and that a native event happened, And the case before we have seen, it's you from JS side. You are asking the native, give me a result, give me the device you have. So it's the other side of the communication. So you can just list the events. You can name them as you want. You can give them the name you want. It's free for you to map your device. So did update, stop scan. So you see it's the events of a reader. And then in the functions that are already implemented, you just need to modify the response and send back to the bridge the event with the name you want for that function. So for example, here we sent in the first case, we send a car UID, and then in the second case, it depends if it's at the end of not. And then you can optimize and check if there is listeners, so you don't send events to the bridge for nothing. But everything is in the doc. Here it's not. From GS side, now we can look at native event emitter. So we just pass our module we just built to the emitter, and then listen to it in the component did mount, or if you're using UTX in another way, but and then handle the event with a function. For example, the stop functions, I just set state to false, and my screen doesn't show the devices anymore. Okay, we are done. It's mapped, still easy. How does it perform? So let's do a second demo. So let's see if we can. Okay, so I'm going to open the app. The app is going to search for a device. So it requested to the native side, give me the device you have. And because this device was already paired before, it was auto pairing. So now, I don't have the car. We can read a car. So, and then when you put a car here, there are an event sent to from the native side to the GS side. So I didn't bring the car with me, so it's it's in my bag. But yeah, you got it. That's one use case. I can also show you the second use case with another phone, for example. Thanks, Guillaume. You added me to your favorites. And I'm going to call this phone. Okay. So you see, Guillaume is calling me in the app. He's resolving this number because I don't have it in my directory. He's resolving in the application. Okay, go back to the app. Okay, mission accomplished. It works. Both sides, native events from the native side, and GS calls to native to the bridge, to a custom module. We also mapped this gun. This is a gun. This is very powerful. It can scan more than 2,000 cars at once. It's UHF, so you can do an inventory of entire room at once. But I was afraid to get caught by borders control, so I didn't bring it with me. But yeah, we mapped it for both Android and iOS, and yeah, it's the same as with the reader. You map it, and then yeah, you can do pretty much everything with React Native. So, and last but not least, there is no excuse not to share. We just consumed more than 10 modules, so why not to ship our module we just built for this device? Maybe someone else is using this device. So yeah, it's time-consuming, I know, but today, if you go to the docs again, you can find tools like this, where you can. There's only 100 stars, so I guess not a lot of people are yeah, sharing with open source with the community. So please let's share together all the stuff we built for our needs, and yeah, make this community greater and better. With this tool, it's pretty fast. So here you can just say create native module. You name your module, and then if I go there, So you have a regular project with an example folder, so you can give other developers an example or the app you did just with a use case for the module you just built. And then you publish it to NPM, and it's done. So why not to do it? We consume so much modules, why not to ship also our modules? So today, we learned how to map native functions, SDKs, listen to native events, packaging your module, and publishing your module to open source. Please do it. And that was my first time in London. This was my first speech outside Switzerland. And hope you learned something. Thank you.